Rick Harrison just made a shocking announcement that has everyone talking. The 60-year-old Pawn Stars mogul revealed his engagement to a woman significantly younger than him. But that's not even the biggest surprise. What happened next left fans completely stunned. But before we dive into this breaking story, make sure to hit that subscribe button because what you're about to discover will change everything you thought you knew about the Pawn Stars empire. For over 15 years, Rick Harrison has been the face of reality television's most successful pawn shop. But behind the cameras and million-dollar deals lies a story so tragic, so filled with heartbreak and betrayal, that even his closest friends didn't see it coming. The man who built an empire evaluating treasures has been hiding his own personal battles that would destroy most people. Richard Kevin Harrison was born on March 22, 1965, into what seemed like an ordinary Navy family. His father, Richard Benjamin Harrison, served his country with honor. His mother, Joanne, dedicated her life to raising 4 children. But tragedy struck early when Rick's sister, Sherry, born with Down syndrome, passed away at just 6 years old. This loss would shape the Harrison family forever, creating bonds that would later shatter in ways nobody could imagine. At 8 years old, Rick's life took another devastating turn. Epileptic seizures confined him to bed for months, where books became his only escape. While other kids played outside, Rick devoured stories about con artists and naval history. Little did anyone know these lonely hours would forge the sharp mind that would one day build a pawn shop empire worth millions. But knowledge alone wouldn't protect him from what was coming. The family's move to Las Vegas in 1981 happened after their real estate business collapsed. 17-year-old Rick faced an impossible situation when his girlfriend Kim became pregnant. Their first child was lost to miscarriage, a pain that haunted them both. But Rick didn't give up. He married Kim in 1982, and they welcomed their son Corey in 1983, followed by Adam in 1985. When Rick's marriage to Kim fell apart that same year, he thought he'd hit rock bottom. 9 months later, he met Tracy and they married in 1986. For 26 years, they seemed unbreakable. They raised Corey and Adam together, built a life, created memories. But even the strongest foundations can crack, and in 2011, their marriage ended. Rick's pattern of failed relationships was just beginning. The gold and silver pawn shop opened in 1989 after years of legal battles for a pawn license. Rick and his father turned a 300-square-foot coin shop into something extraordinary. By 2005, they were lending millions annually. The shop caught the attention of television producers in 2008, and suddenly, Pawn Stars was born. When the show premiered in July 2009, it exploded into a cultural phenomenon. By January 2011, it was the History Channel's highest-rated program. Rick published his autobiography, which hit the New York Times bestseller list. Money poured in, fame followed, but success has a price. And Rick was about to pay it in ways he never imagined. His third marriage to Deanna Burdett in 2013 seemed like a fresh start. Rick gained 3 stepdaughters and appeared genuinely happy. But by 2020, during the darkest days of the pandemic, this marriage also crumbled. Court documents revealed they had become so incompatible, they couldn't even agree on basic daily decisions. The divorce was finalized in September, but that was just the beginning of Rick's troubles. The pandemic nearly destroyed everything Rick had built. The gold and silver pawn shop, which typically generated over $1 million annually, made just $37,000 in 2020. Tourist traffic vanished. The financial pressure was crushing. Rick lowered interest rates, gave customers more time to reclaim their items, but the losses mounted daily. Then came the lawsuit that nobody saw coming. In February 2022, Rick's own mother, 81-year-old Joanne Harrison, filed shocking legal documents. She claimed that while she was in a coma in the early 2000s, Rick had manipulated her into signing over her 51% ownership of the pawn shop. She alleged she didn't understand what she was signing when she had just awakened from her medical crisis. the accusations got worse. Joanne claimed Rick had stopped her monthly $25,000 payments in 2020. She alleged he'd hidden over $500,000 in silver and $100,000 in cash that belonged to her late husband's estate. She accused her own son of using her assets as collateral for a $3 million loan without her knowledge. Rick fired back, claiming his mother was being manipulated by others for financial gain. He insisted he'd tried contacting her for months but couldn't reach her. The family that had built an empire together was now tearing itself apart in court. Fans watched in horror as the man they'd admired for years faced accusations that could destroy his reputation forever. But the worst tragedy was yet to come. On January 19, 2024, Rick's son Adam was found unresponsive in his Las Vegas home. The 39-year-old had struggled with addiction for years. Rick had paid for rehab countless times, watched his son get clean, then relapse again. This time, fentanyl-laced substances ended Adam's life instantly. The Clark County coroner ruled it an accidental overdose. Rick posted a heartbreaking tribute on Instagram with just 6 words: "You'll always be in my heart." Behind those words was a father's unbearable grief, the weight of every what if and if only that haunts parents who lose children to addiction. In a recent interview with Graham Benzinger, Rick opened up about the devastating loss. "I second-guess everything," he admitted, his voice breaking. "When you lose a kid, you think about them every day. You wonder what you could have done differently. The fentanyl crisis needs to be addressed. It's K-wording our children." Donald Trump Jr. personally called Rick to offer condolences. Corey posted childhood photos of his brother with the caption, "I'll always love you, Bubba." The Pawn Stars family, who had shared their victories on screen for 15 years, now grieved privately while fans watched helplessly. Through all this pain, Rick kept working. But in February 2025, another shock hit. The History Channel announced that Pawn Stars was on indefinite pause after 20 seasons. Corey Harrison revealed he couldn't play another season. The show that defined Rick's life was suddenly gone. Rick pivoted to new ventures. He launched Pawn After Dark, a podcast with Chumley where they share behind-the-scenes stories the network would never air. He starred in Pawn Stars Do America, traveling to 8 cities searching for treasures. But these projects felt different without the original show's magic, without his father's wisdom, without Adam's presence. Then, in March 2025, shocking rumors exploded across social media. Videos claimed Rick had been sentenced to life in prison. Millions viewed these false reports, sharing them frantically. The claims were completely fabricated, created by channels desperate for views. But the damage to Rick's reputation was real. Fact-checkers debunked the stories. But once a lie spreads, truth struggles to catch up. The real Rick Harrison was actually in Chile proposing to Angie Palushkin with a 6.5-carat diamond from his own shop. At 60 years old, after 3 divorces, the death of his son, and legal battles with his mother, Rick was trying once more for happiness. The engagement announcement surprised everyone, especially given the significant age difference between them. But happiness seems elusive for Rick. The lawsuit with his mother remains unresolved, hanging over every family gathering like a dark cloud. The shop that once symbolized the American dream now represents family betrayal. The fortune he built might be stripped away by the woman who gave him life. Rick recently blamed Las Vegas's decline on overpriced casinos and hotels. He told reporters that tourism dropped 11%, that financial Darwinism would force changes. But insiders wonder if Rick's really talking about Vegas or himself. Has success made him too comfortable? Has fame blinded him to the threats closing in? The man who spent his childhood reading about naval battles now fights wars on multiple fronts. His mother seeks justice or revenge, depending on who you believe. His business struggles to recover from pandemic losses. His reputation faces constant attacks from false rumors and real controversies. His family tree has been pruned by death and divorce until few branches remain. Through 15 years of fame, Rick Harrison has evaluated countless treasures, negotiated thousands of deals, and built an empire worth millions. but he couldn't evaluate the price of success on his family. He couldn't negotiate with addiction to save his son. He couldn't build walls strong enough to protect himself from betrayal. Corey recently revealed that continuing Pawn Stars feels impossible without addressing their family's pain. Chumley posts videos trying to recapture the show's light-hearted spirit, but the laughter sounds forced now. The gold and silver pawn shop still operates, tourists still visit, but something essential has been lost forever. Rick's stepdaughters remain loyal, posting Father's Day tributes that suggest at least some relationships survived the wreckage. He speaks at events, endorses products, maintains his public persona, but those close to him say he's changed. The confident negotiator who once controlled every deal now seems uncertain about his future. The lawsuit with Joanne could determine everything. If she wins, Rick might lose the shop, the fortune, and what's left of his reputation. If he wins, he keeps the money but loses something more valuable. The ability to claim his success came from honest work and family values. Either outcome leaves scars that money can't heal. Some fans defend Rick, arguing that family businesses often breed conflict, that success naturally creates jealousy. Others feel betrayed, saying the man they watched for 15 years was just another rich person willing to sacrifice family for fortune. The truth probably lies somewhere between these extremes, in the gray area where most human failures exist. Rick Harrison's story isn't finished. At 60, he could have decades ahead. Perhaps his fourth marriage will succeed where others failed. Perhaps the lawsuit will settle quietly, allowing some family healing. Perhaps new ventures will restore his fortune and reputation. Or perhaps this is how empires end. Not in dramatic collapse, but in slow dissolution. One lawsuit, one death, one controversy at a time. What's certain is that Rick Harrison's life proves that fame and fortune can't protect anyone from life's fundamental tragedies. The man who became famous for determining value learned too late that some things can't be appraised. Family relationships, children's lives, personal integrity. These aren't items you can evaluate and negotiate. They're either preserved with care or lost forever. As we watch Rick Harrison's continuing saga, we're reminded that reality television only shows us what cameras capture. Behind every successful businessman, every television personality, every American success story, there's a human being struggling with the same problems that destroy ordinary people. Money just makes the fall more public, the failures more expensive, the pain more complicated. The gold and silver pawn shop remains open, waiting for the next treasure to walk through its doors. But the real treasure, a united family, a living son, a lasting marriage, those walked out long ago. And unlike pawned items, they can't be reclaimed by paying interest. Some losses are forever. If Rick Harrison's story teaches us anything, it's that success without family is just expensive failure. The man who built an empire on evaluating objects never learned to value what mattered most until it was gone. And now, surrounded by millions in merchandise but missing the people who mattered, Rick Harrison faces his remaining years knowing that he won the game but lost everything that made winning worthwhile. If this story touched you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more untold stories from Hollywood's most fascinating personalities. And remember, behind every celebrity smile might be a tragedy they're hiding. Until next time, this is your source for the real stories behind the fame.